But they're going to be asked to pick their top 3 choices. It's called ranked choice voting. It eliminates the need for a runoff election, but it has a lot of controversy around it. ABC 7's Carol and Tyler explains how it works.
16 people want to occupy room 200 at City Hall, the most crowded field in memory. Almost all are considered viable contenders. In alphabetical order, Public Defender Jeff Adachi, former Supervisor Michaela Alioto-Peer, Supervisor John Avalos, Board President David Chu, former Supervisor Bevan Dufty, former Supervisor Tony Hall, City Attorney Dennis Herrera, current interim Mayor Ed Lee, venture capitalist Joanna Reese, Assessor Recorder Phil Ting, and State Senator Leland Gee. The mayor will be chosen through the ranked choice voting system approved by voters back in 2002. It's been used in other city elections like last year's supervisors races, but this is the first time the method will be used for a competitive mayor's race. This method allows voters to mark their ballot with up to 3 mayoral choices in order of preference. On election night, the counting begins with all first-choice selections. If there's a front-runner who captures more than 50% of the vote, the race is over. If no one gets that majority, the candidate with the fewest first-choice rankings is eliminated. If that person was your top selection, you get another chance because your vote is now transferred to your second choice, and all the votes are recounted. This process of eliminating last-place candidates and redistributing the votes continues until someone has a winning majority and becomes the new mayor.
And I think it's a good thing because it saves money and it allows one election to determine the outcome.
There's a lot of education that still has to happen.
I hear it all the time when I'm at house parties from folks on the right, the left, the middle, that they're confused, they're a little scared about it.
Some research has been done on ranked choice voting in previous city elections by USF political science professor Corey Cook.
In San Francisco, normally, more than half of the voters only list one person. And the question then becomes, do voters really understand the voting system? Do they know they can put second and third choices?
Cook says nearly 80% of the voters in last year's mayor's race in Oakland marked all 3 choices. It was the first time ranked choice was used there. Don Parada was 11 points ahead in the first round of voting, but Jean Quan captured more second and third place votes, leading to her surprising win.
And I know people today here, people will come up and say, what happened?
Parada says he accepts his defeat, but says voters, including himself, are confused about the new system.
If you can't explain how on the 9th count you lose, if I can't understand it, how can a voter understand it?
Professor Cook believes the ranked choice system worked in Oakland, but for the doubters, San Francisco is now a crucial test.
The San Francisco election is a big case because people are now really aware of ranked choice voting in a way they weren't.
If Supervisor Sean Ellsburn has his way, voters won't become too familiar with it. On Election Day, he plans to submit a proposal for the June ballot to repeal ranked choice voting.
Whoever is our next mayor will be elected with less than a majority of the vote. This is an undemocratic system.
But there are many supporters.
I love it. Now we'll see what the voters think.
In San Francisco, Carol and Tyler, ABC 7 News.
Well, as you can understand, with 16 candidates in the race, it's impossible for us to have each one address all of the issues in a single report. So we've put our candidate interviews online for you. We asked each one of them to give us their views on pension reform, improving muni service, and creating jobs. City Attorney Dennis Herrera believes it's important to overhaul the business tax, which he believes is hurting job growth.
On day 1 as mayor, I would convene a summit of city leaders, community leaders, and business leaders to come up with a new business tax that is more fair to large, medium, and small businesses and doesn't penalize job creation like the payroll expense tax does.
Now you can see all of the interviews with Herrera and the other candidates on the politics page at abc7news.com.
And still coming up tonight, the monster homes that have risen from the ashes of the Oakland fire.